The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark.
Glory to you, O Lord.
As Jesus was leaving Jericho with his disciples and a sizable crowd, Bartimaeus, a blind man, the son of Timaeus, sat by the roadside begging. On hearing that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, "Jesus, Son of David, have pity on me." And many rebuked him, telling him to be silent. But he kept calling out all the more, "Son of David, have pity on me." Jesus stopped and said, "Call him." So they called the blind man, saying to him, "Take courage, get up, Jesus is calling you." He threw aside his cloak, sprang up, and came to Jesus. Jesus said to him in reply, "What do you want me to do for you?" The blind man replied to him, "Master, I want to see." Jesus told him, "Go your way, your faith has saved you." Immediately he received his sight and followed him on the way. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
How many times do we feel like giving up? Our work isn't fulfilling. We're not going to have enough money for that vacation. We hit roadblock after roadblock on our way to some goal. There's not enough time to get everything done. God isn't answering our prayers. We're sick and struggling, and things aren't getting any better. What do we do? How do we go on? Where do we find the strength to persevere? We look to the saints. Some saints are models of perseverance. St. Athanasius was Bishop of Alexandria during the 4th century. His opposition to the Arian heresy, which denied the divinity of Christ, was key to safeguarding the true teaching of the Church. Many bishops, priests, and laypersons wavered, but not Athanasius. As he steadfastly defended church dogma, he persevered through 5 exiles, spending 17 of his 46 years as bishop away from his diocese. Some saints struggled to remain faithful to their call. Such was the case for Saint Noel Chabanel, one of the martyrs of North America in the mid-1600s. His fellow missionaries seemed to have little trouble adjusting to life among the Native American Indians, but that was not the case for Father Noel. He had great difficulty learning the Huron language. He found some of their customs repulsive. He could not stomach their food, and he experienced intense homesickness and depression. What did he do? The saint made a solemn vow to stay at his post for as long as God chose, no matter how difficult it proved to be. Even though his superiors gave him permission to return to France, Father Noel fulfilled his promise, remaining with the Hurons until finally he was martyred by the very people he served. Because they keep their focus on Jesus, the saints are able to overcome temporary difficulties that would discourage many other people. It's much easier to endure suffering when we know there's a purpose to it. We see this in Pope St. Martin I, who died in exile in 655 after opposing a heresy favored by the emperor. In a letter, Martin wrote, "For 47 days I have not been given water to wash in. I am frozen through and wasting away with dysentery. The food I get makes me vomit. But God sees all things, and I trust in him." Even when we're not journeying far from home and placing our lives at risk, the difficulties involved in serving God can be tiresome and discouraging, and the temptation to give up is never far away, especially when it seems that our efforts aren't appreciated or respected. At the beginning of the 19th century, St. Clement Hofbauer established an orphanage, and he frequently begged in order to support it. One time, he entered a tavern and asked for money, but a man playing cards spat in his face. Rather than walking away, Clement calmly said, "That was a gift to me personally. Now please let me have something for my poor children." Impressed by the saint's humility and persistence, the man not only apologized and made a small donation, but from then on became one of the priest's regular penitents and a firm supporter of his ministry. As long as we don't give up on persons or circumstances too quickly, divine grace can work miracles, and a willingness to continue on in faith can be a powerful expression of our love for God. We have to trust that God can and will help us. That's what drove Bartimaeus to call out, "Jesus, Son of David, have pity on me." In the face of rebukes and adversity, he persevered. And completely focused on Jesus, he cried out again, "Son of David, have pity on me." He was rewarded for his faith and determination, and immediately dropped everything, committing to follow Jesus. My brothers and sisters, life can be challenging, and we all feel like giving up from time to time. Take courage. There is a saint who has experienced your pain. Learn about them. Follow their example. Pray for their intercession. Commit to God's will. Focus on Jesus and persevere. God never promised life would be easy, but he did promise it would be worthwhile.